Welcome back. Today's video is called Regress to Progress. So our body naturally goes to the path of least resistance, or it tries to recreate the positions that we hold habitually. So in modern culture, we tend to be seated, knees at 90, seated at a desk, at a table, whatever, and with the spine in this position. Very rarely are we seated with the spine like this. So naturally, our body wants to go back to this position, and anything that we do, whether it's coming up for a lunge, the body will want to go back to this position, trying to upright ourselves. It wants to pull here, wants to round over. So what happens is when we go into the yoga pose, even though it feels like a pose like this, like we're doing, oh man, I really feel like I got that neutral spine, I feel like I'm elongated. Normally what it will look like for the person who's feeling that is more like this. The knee will want to go back to its 90-degree angle, the spine will want to go back into flexion. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to challenge you to set up a camera or set yourself up in front of a mirror so that you can see what you're doing is actually what you're feeling is actually what you're doing. And so over time, we can start to gain deeper awareness and enhance our proprioception, feel our body through space. So we won't need to use the camera or the mirror for help. But I want to challenge you to do that today. And we're going to need to have a strap and a couple of blocks because we're going to use these to help us. As I showed in the demonstration, this is going to be where 90% of us are at, thinking that we're elongating and just hinging from the neck. So we'll use the props. So let's begin today's class, lengthy explanation I know, in child's pose. So with the big toes together, knees wide enough for the ribs to fit in between, let's prop the head with a block and stretch the arms forward. So propping your head with a block, all that's going to do is make sure that you don't collapse. So already we're going to, now that we know, okay, my spine naturally wants to hunch over, we're going to add a little prop to make sure that we can elongate. Feel your hips release back, stretch forward through your arms. Then come up onto your hands and your knees for some cat-cow. Working your way up the spine from the bottom. And as you go into extension, rolling up the spine. Now this isn't just like a hunch that I have a feeling that this is happening. I for sure, after all my years teaching, I know that this is what's happening. And one of the most common things that'll happen is when I was teaching retreats all the time pre-COVID, I would get messages from students who have been practicing and they would say something like, yeah, I want to come on your retreat, but a lot of the stuff that you teach is basic like this, and I'm an advanced student, so I want to make sure that it's challenging. I'm not going to name any names. No, I love you guys. But when I would see them in person, I would realize that most all their poses looked like what I was showing. That they hadn't opened up the body and they hadn't strengthened what needed to be strengthened, so that they needed a bunch of beginner poses essentially and beginner variations propping up. Now step into plank position, hold for 5 breaths. So truly an advanced practice is the humility to go back to the basic poses and see if we can strengthen the right muscles and open up the tight ones. Because what I showed, we're just strengthening the hunched over posture. So even here in plank, draw the thighs up. Tendency is going to be for the legs and the spine to go back to sitting on the chair, sitting on the couch position. So we're just going to get out of that. Breathe. Look straight down at the ground and grow long through your neck. Now let's start to warm up your hips, so bring your right knee to your right elbow, Change left knee to left elbow. Keep it going now. And then twisting, knee to opposite elbow. Set the knees down. Stand up on your knees, take your strap. Now, externally rotate your arms, so turn your biceps out. Little micro bend in the elbows so that you're not locking from the elbow joint, you're actually using your muscles. And as you roll the shoulders and the chest open, notice the tendency to push your rib cage out. Keep your rib cage in, roll the shoulders open. Now see if you can lift your strap off your buttock, keeping the rotation of the shoulders. As soon as you feel your shoulders start to rotate inward, stop lifting off the butt. Good, then release that and put your blocks up at the top of your mat. Now step your right foot up in between your hands and just hang out in your lunge for a moment here, working on elongating the spine. Then bring your hands to your knee and slowly peel yourself up. Lift through the front of the pelvis. Make sure the pelvis comes with you and you don't just hinge from somewhere in your back, which is what we'll tend to do because of the weakness, instability here in the lumbar spine from all the hunching over. So feel now your buttock lengthen down, the front of the hip open. Raise your left arm up. Press down with your right hand. And now as you move the left buttock in and down, let's side bend to the right. Come back up. Bring your hands back down. Now with the hands on the block, curl your toes under, lift your back knee up. Now I say blocks, but for many, the hands will be best onto a chair to really get the elongation. It just depends. I don't know your level of athleticism or flexibility, mobility rather, because you could probably jam yourself really deeply without being able to control the muscles in your body. So here, feel your lats hug the shoulder blades onto the back so the chest can reach forward. Feel your back thigh lift. You're not just hanging out. Lift the back thigh, turn on the back leg, pull your right thigh back into the socket. Now, as we do all that, as we engage and wake everything up, there's going to be the tendency to strain. So come back to your breath and find an ease in the movement. Now check it out. Turn your blocks down a notch so they don't tip over. And with the thumbs inside and the other fingers out, we're going to step back into downward facing dog. So the hands elevated will reduce the tendency to hunch over like this. This is the most common dog that I see. So we'll do a little bend in the knees and see if we can elongate the spine. And then start to grow the legs without losing the elongation of the spine. Step your left foot up, lower your right knee. Just hang out here for a couple breaths. Let the pelvis start to settle, drop down. And this pose is much different than this pose. Slouchasana. Don't go into Slouchasana. Bring your hands to your knee. Slowly upright yourself. I wish I could take credit for Slouchasana, but that's a T.S. Little term, which he's an amazing teacher. If you haven't checked him out. So buttock moves in and down. Keep this releasing back and then slowly raise your arm up. Wake up your spine. So as we're working on building flexibility, we want to be able to control ourselves through the range that we're opening up into. And side bend here. So even here, instead of just falling over to the side, can you feel yourself being controlled over into the movement? So you're moving consciously, not just hanging into it. If I turn everything off, I can go a lot further, but I'm not going to be improving my posture and strengthening the muscles that need to be strengthened. Come back up, hands down, lift your back knee up. So turn on the muscles in your back, feel your blades come down your back, your chest lift. Lift your back inner thigh so the leg is strong, pull the left thigh back. There's the theory that you don't have to use props, and if you just really work on your breath, then the opening will start to come. I wish it were true. It's just not true. If you're habitually in this position, this is all that your nervous system's going to learn, and then you're just going to keep going back to it. Okay, that's the end of my ranting. Turn your blocks down, stretch back, downward facing dog. All right, so on the blocks, I'm able to get my heels down on the ground and still elongate my spine. But if it makes your spine do this, better to lift the heels up so you can get the stretch and the length. And keep the knees bent some. Walk your feet forward. Let your head drop. All right, so if the knees lock and I don't have the flexibility in my hips and hamstrings, the spine will hunch up. So unlock your knees so you can let your pelvis tip over so your spine can lengthen. And then keeping that, you can gradually start to stretch the legs towards straight. Roll yourself up to stand. Stand with your knees pointing straight ahead. Center of your ankle pointing straight ahead. Stand up tall. Press down through your heels, your big toe mounds, and your little toe mounds. Open up the front of the shoulders like we practiced with the strap without hardening your middle. Flow your groins down to your ankles. Press to your feet. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, make a flat back. Step your left leg back into the lunge. Now turn on the muscle of your right buttock, push down through your heel. See if you can come up with good posture. If you can't, use the hands to the knee. Bring your hands down, lift your back knee up. Now I've gone to the medium blocks. You can see I got the hunch in the middle back. All right, there we go. Stretch back into downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up. Exhale, shift into plank, pull your knee up. Step your foot. Inhale to elongate. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step your right leg back and lower your knee. Engage your left hip. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands back down. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee. Come up onto the fingertips so you can get the elongation. Back thigh up, left thigh pulls in. And then step back into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, bring your knee to your chest, pull up. Step your foot. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, step forward and fold. Sit your hips back like you're sitting into a chair. Then lift from your belly, raise your arms up. Pretend like there's a table in front of you. Push your hands down into the imaginary table. Feel your lats engage. Lift your heart. And then keeping the heart lifting, raise your arms back up. Press into your feet and stand. Samasthiti. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Feel that the neck is long and the whole spine is being lengthened. Then step back, downward facing dog. Set your knees down, lower onto your belly. Take your strap behind your back. And we're going to do that same stretch that we did from kneeling, but now from on the belly. So situate your shoulder blades onto your back. Rotate your biceps out. Open the front of the shoulder. As you press into the tops of the feet, feel your groins release up. Knees point straight down again. Now reach your sternum. Stretch the chest bone forward. Pull out on the strap. Turn your biceps out. Feel the backs of the arms start to squeeze in. Backs of the shoulders turning on. Now squeeze back of the shoulder stuff and float the hands up. If you don't have the flexibility to, mobility rather, then just the intention of squeezing like you're going to lift. Lower your heart down and press up onto your hands and your knees or right up into plank. Stretch back into downward dog. So that's a super important corrective exercise right there to help balance out the posture that I showed at the beginning. More important than doing the up dog, more important than doing the chaturangas, the planks, is that. The better you get at that, the better your chaturanga is going to get too. Walk your feet forward. Inhale into a flat back. Instead of this flat back, where I'm just moving from the neck, we'll use the whole spine to elongate. Exhale to fold. Inhale to chair pose. Stand Samasthiti. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose. Lie down on your belly. So I come off the blocks first and then lower down. And then take your strap again. Inhale, modified locust. Press the tops of the feet down. Knees point straight down. Reach your big toes back instead of letting the foot sickle. Blades on the back. Now, this isn't to say that you should be using props and blocks forever, but this is going to get you the opening necessary to start to move deeper. Lower yourself down, lift up, and stretch back. Now inhale your right leg up. Exhale, bring your knee to your chest and step your foot. Turn your back heel down, come up onto your fingertips. Get the elongation first. Then hands to your knee, start to upright yourself. Feel that your buttock can release down, get a lift through the front of your pelvis. Don't let it just sink from your lower back. Lift up and lengthen. Then raise your arm up. Raise both arms up. Bring your hands back down. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Raise your left leg up. Step your foot. Set up your back heel. Come up onto your fingertips, hold there. Then slowly upright yourself. Let the hip buttock release down towards your heel. Move it down. Now as you firm the buttock in, feel a lift through the front of the pelvis, but don't firm in so much to where it hardens the front of the hip. Raise your arm up. Raise both arms up. Keep your lower back tall. Don't let it bow forward. Bring your hands down. Step back. Downward dog or vinyasa. Bend your knees and look forward. Step or float up to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale into chair pose. Stand Samastiti. Now step your foot back and stand with your legs wide. Spread your arms out. You can have a block behind either foot right now. Turn your left leg in a little bit. Spin your right thigh out. And then bend your right knee right over your ankle. Push into your right inner foot, but then spin the thigh. Stretch from your groin to your knee. Feel the outer buttock engage. Now place your hand down onto the inside of your foot. Okay, now here is where the body will want to go. Okay, great. Feeling an awesome stretch. I'm super deep in it. I'm crushing it at yoga. Instead, we're going to use a little prop so that we can get the thoracic spine to start to wake up. So this area, this is called the prana vayu. So all of our life force energy has to move through here into the nose. And if we are constantly practicing with the prana vayu closed, then we're not allowing the energy to flow through the body, the prana life force energy to move through the body well. Now it's not to say, again, you might be able to go deeper and still keep the elongation. So just feel, or see rather, what's appropriate. Oh, the last thing I'll say about the friends of the channel who end up coming on the retreats, often they've been practicing for years, if not a lifetime. So it's not that just, it's not only beginners. Press into your feet and come back up. Then reverse warrior, flip your palm and inhale. And we'll put the hand on the outside of the foot and take the left arm over. Press into your feet and come back up. Ooh, quad burn. Straighten your leg, turn your toes in. Angle the right leg in slightly, turn the left leg out. And bend your knee. Press into your left foot evenly, push the ball of the big toe, the center heel, but stretch the inner leg by turning the thigh out. Then place your hand down onto the inside of your foot. Use the sufficient propping. Block, chair, stool. Then press into your feet, come back up. Inhale, reach your left arm up, reverse warrior. Exhale, place your hand onto the outside of your foot. Take your right arm over. And for people who don't have a movement practice already, they're not regularly practicing stretching or yoga, I almost always have them up above a block, if not a chair. I can just see it in the comments now. This is the last thing I'll say. It says 3 more things after. Press into your feet, come back up. Straighten your left leg, feet parallel. Now place your hands on your hips and turn your big toes out about halfway. And right here at the top of the pelvis, where your bones are here, this is the iliac crest. Keeping the iliac crest upright without it tipping forward, slowly start to bend your knees. Then take your arms out to the side. Bend your elbows. And without pushing your rib cage, hardening your rib cage forward, externally rotate your arms. Now imagine your arms were back against the wall and you're pressing the hands back, but don't compensate from your middle. Aim your rib pipe straight down, keep your iliac crest upright. Don't strain your neck. Relax the jaw and the tongue. Press the elbows and the wrists back at the same rate. And for all the time we have with the arms in front of us, this is a great way to open up your chest muscles by strengthening the muscles in the back. Then straighten your legs, bring your arms down. Now, of course, you could bring your arm way behind you, no problem, but you're not controlling the range. You're not squeezing the muscles in the back to open it up. Step forward, and that's what we want to start to learn to do in addition to stretching. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. Then set a block for your pelvis and lower your pelvis down onto the block. Okay. How do I like my block for my pelvis? I like it like this. Now lower your heart down, bring your hands into Chaturanga position. Spread your collarbones, feel your blades come onto your back so your shoulders aren't sinking onto the mat. Then curl your toes, straighten your legs, rib cage in, engage your glutes, squeeze your buttocks towards your heels. And then just hover your chest up like you had another block and hold that. Legs strong, ribs in, neck long. So this is called Chaturanga. This is what we want to be lowering into. This is what we want to be strengthening. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes, belly in. Keep your chest broad. Lower your chest back down. Okay, so that's different than if I go to lower into Chaturanga and my shoulders go like this. Yeah, we're all really strong, hunched over and pushing because we're in that position most of the time. So we want to be able instead to maintain this neutral as we lower into the position. So now let's try it with knees down, keeping the collarbones broad without dropping the lower back. Slowly lower. Engage your glutes. Come back up. And then stretch back to child's pose. Then lie onto your back. Oh, before we lie onto the back actually, stretch your legs out in front of you and sit up tall. Now here's the next one where I catch. This is the most often catch when someone goes to sit, there's going to be the tendency, because of everything I mentioned at the beginning, for the body to go like this. So first we just need to get the body upright. And my teacher wouldn't allow anybody to start to practice inversions before they had mastered this 90-degree angle between the thighs and the torso, keeping the spine moving in and up. So this would be the spine moving back and down. Instead, you can see here, spine in and up, legs straight. And then the next step, after the shoulders, the collarbones could be expressed and the side chest could be opened. Then it would be arms forward. Then it would be arms up. And this position had to be held for a minute with the arms straight up, maintaining perfect 90, before the student would be allowed to be introduced to inversions. Now, it wasn't because my teacher was mean, like a yoga Nazi, maybe a little bit. No, but it's to keep your body safe, because it's telling you that you don't have the mobility yet to get into them. Bring your arms back down. When you don't have the mobility to get into them, you can force yourself, but it's not going to end up good in the long run. So now cross your right ankle to the outside of your left knee and find your upright seat. Now, if you can't sit up straight, you're going to need to prop yourself. So if you weren't able to do that 90-degree angle, put a block, 2 blocks, a block and a blanket, whatever you need so you can sit perfectly upright, and then twist. It won't do your body any good to be twisting on a hunched over spine. In fact, that's where we start to get shearing, torquing, and degeneration in the disc when you're constantly twisting on a spine that's compressed. So first, breathe buoyancy into your spine. And then let your chest start to turn. So we're nourishing the discs in this manner. Come back to center and change. Decompress your spine. And then wrap your arm. Now there are some rounded positions, rounded poses where we're twisting. For example, Pashasana. What are some others? Side crow. But in those positions, those are more advanced. First, you get the elongation here, and then you can elongate yourself into flexion instead of hunching over into flexion. Release that. Now sit for Baddha Konasana, which, if it looks like this, oh yeah, I'm super deep because I can push my head down. That's not helping. And one of the things that I taught you about in the beginning was focusing on your breath, feeling the sensation from the inside, and your dristi, which was if your eyes are open, not hardening your gaze, not moving from your eyes, you're moving from your body, you're moving from the sensation. Because we are hunter-gatherers, we evolved by being able to seek out prey, focus on things, and hunt, gather food. When our eyes are open, we tend to focus on the thing that we're looking at. So for example, if I was moving from my eyes, I would try to jam my head closer towards my feet. Instead, as yoga practitioners, we want to keep the eyes soft and move from the body. You can see the difference. Now I'm going to go back to hunter-gatherer. Get the feet. Okay. Lie down onto your back. Oh, watch out for the block. Hug your right knee into your chest. So you stretch your left leg out. Open your right knee to the side. Take your left arm up and reach it back. As your knee opens up to the side, don't let your pelvis go along for the ride. Bring your knee back up. Change legs. Hug the left knee in. Right arm reaches back. Open your knee to the side. Now I'm controlling, I'm using my muscles, I'm bracing in my core, irradiating so that the whole body doesn't move, just my thigh bone. And in this way, I'm opening up when I'm intending to open up. I'm getting stronger through my whole body. I'm strengthening good posture. I'm allowing just the joint that's intended to move. That's how our joints get healthier. Release, stretch your leg out. Open your arms to your side. So when we practice this way, we're teaching the joint intending to move to actually get the movement. The other way, the hunched over pose, the whole body is compensating for the joint. So the joint never learns to become a joint. It stays in a closed position. If I let my whole body move with my knee, then my whole body thinks it's a hip joint. I don't have a hip joint anymore. We want to have hip joints. We want to have shoulder joints. We want to have thoracic spine joints. So as we practice consciously, as we practice conscious movement, this is the reason why I created the conscious movement community, was for practitioners who are actually interested in this level of practice. If you just want to jump around and never really change your body, that's fine. There's lots of yoga for that. But I'm interested in helping people start to open up their body and really become conscious of their movements. Let go and relax. Now bend your knees and roll over to your side. Press yourself up. Thank you. Namaste. So more like a lecture than a yoga class today, but this is really important information, and I wanted to put it all in one video so that you really have that to focus on. If you're interested in joining the Conscious Movement community, I'm going to put the link below, and I'm going to give you 2 weeks to try it out for free. In there, you'll find the What's Next course, which is the course that comes after this challenge, where you're really challenged to own everything that you've learned in the challenge, all the advanced poses that we're doing. I break it down, like today we just did real basic poses, but I show you in the Conscious Movement community how to do the advanced poses with props and then without props, so that you can really own it. All right, cool. Have a good one. I hope you join. See you next time.